Welcome back to Dr. Ryan, the channel where we break down complex health risks in a simple and practical way so you can protect your body and make smarter choices every single day. Today we're talking about something that might surprise you. Most people believe the most dangerous ingredients in the modern fruit supply are sugar, seed oils, flavor enhancers, dyes, or preservative. And don't get me wrong, those can all be harmful, but they are not the most dangerous. The truly harmful substance is something far more hidden. Something you'll never see listed on a nutrition label. Something that forms inside the food during processing and heating. Something classified as a probable human carcinogen and recognized by major health agencies around the world. And most people eat it every single day without realizing it. That hidden compound is called acrylamide, a byproduct formed when certain foods are heated under specific conditions. But before I explain how it forms, you need to understand why it matters. Acrylamide is not a mild irritant. It's a neurotoxin. It damages the nervous system, disrupts reproductive organs, affects the brain, and contributes to genetic changes linked to cancer. Animal studies show strong cancer-causing potential, and international cancer organizations list it as a high-risk chemical. The EPA also classifies it as likely carcinogenic. And the most alarming part is that about 40% of the food people eat contains some level of acrylamide. Now here is the twist. Acrylamide isn't added to food. It isn't an ingredient manufacturers sprinkle on. It forms during processing, specifically when certain refined sugars and certain amino acids meet high temperature. When this reaction takes place, the compounds restructure and produce acrylamide, and the higher the temperature, the more intense the reaction becomes. The key players are refined sugars like glucose, dextrose, maltodextrin, and glucose syrup. All heavily processed sugars that break down extremely fast. These sugars react with a particular amino acid called asparagine, found in wheat, corn, rice, soy, and similar ingredients. When these two elements combine under high heat, especially above 285 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 degrees Celsius, a chemical transformation occurs. This transformation is known as the Maillard reaction, the same reaction responsible for browning, crispiness, and enhance flavor in fried or baked foods. It makes food smell amazing, taste better, and look more appealing. But the darker and crispier foods become, the more acrylamide they typically contain. Acrylamide itself is harmful, but it doesn't stop there. Once formed, acrylamide can convert into an even more dangerous compound called glycinamide, which is directly mutagenic and even more strongly associated with cancer formation. So while many people fear seed oils or high fructose corn syrup, the combination of refined sugars, processed starches, and high-heat cooking creates a silent threat most people never think about. So where is acrylamide found? You'll see it in some of the most common everyday foods: French fries, potato chips, corn chips, crackers, cookies, baked goods, breakfast cereal, toasted bread, crusty baked products, and yes, even coffee. That's right. Roasted coffee beans naturally form acrylamide due to the high heat used during roasting. Before you panic about coffee, there's good news. The darker the roast, the lower the acrylamide. Light roasted coffee can contain up to 10 times more acrylamide than dark roast or espresso. At very high roasting temperatures, close to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, acrylamide actually becomes unstable and breaks down. So espresso, dark roast, or high heat roasted coffee is significantly safer than lightly roasted beans. Now, what about fried foods? If you fry potatoes or breaded items in seed oils, like soybean, canola, corn, or sunflower oil, the acrylamide formation becomes even worse. Not only do these oils break down into toxic oxidation products, but they also promote the chemical reaction that forms acrylamide. And it gets worse. Many restaurants reuse their frying oil repeatedly, which intensifies toxicity and increases acrylamide levels. But here's something fascinating. When saturated fats are used instead of seed oils, acrylamide formation drops dramatically. Before the 1990s, McDonald's fried their French fries in beef tallow, a staple saturated fat. Back then, acrylamide levels were significantly lower. Once they switched to unstable seed oils, acrylamide formation skyrocketed. Saturated fats like beef tallow, butter, ghee, and coconut oil withstand heat far better and help prevent the formation of harmful compounds. While fried foods still aren't healthy, using a stable fat dramatically reduces the chemical danger. Now that you understand how acrylamide forms, the next question is, how do you avoid it, and what can you do if you're exposed to it? The first and most powerful strategy is to reduce or eliminate refined sugars. Natural sugars, like those in sugarcane or honey, do not produce this acrylamide reaction. The problem lies specifically in refined processed sugars and starches that have been stripped and chemically altered. If you remove these from your cooking, you eliminate half of the chemical reaction immediately. Another strategy is to avoid high-heat frying and instead use slow cooking methods. Slow cooking keeps temperatures below the threshold needed to generate acrylamide. When you slow cook meats, vegetables, and soups, they rarely reach temperatures higher than 212 degrees Fahrenheit, keeping you far below the danger zone. This makes slow cooking an excellent method for people trying to avoid harmful compounds created by heat. Choosing whole foods instead of processed foods is another major step. Acrylamide forms most heavily in ultra-processed foods, exactly the kinds of foods that now make up over half of the average adult's diet, nearly half of a toddler's diet, and even more in teenagers. Every step of refining, removing fiber, bleaching flour, extracting oils, chemically altering starches, makes the final product more likely to form acrylamide when heated. But what happens if you occasionally eat something that contains acrylamide? Maybe you have a treat, enjoy some fries, eat a cookie, or drink light roast coffee. Is there anything you can do to protect yourself? Yes, certain foods naturally contain compounds that help neutralize or counteract the harmful effects of acrylamide. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, and arugula contain sulfur-rich compounds that support detoxification and help the body break down harmful chemicals. Garlic also contains powerful protective compounds that assist in clearing toxic byproducts. Sprouts, especially broccoli sprouts, have incredibly high concentrations of sulforaphane, which supports the body's ability to detoxify carcinogen. Foods high in vitamin C, such as citrus fruits, bell peppers, and sauerkraut, are also protective because vitamin C helps counter oxidative stress caused by harmful compounds. Green tea contains catechins that support detox pathways and help protect the nervous system. Spirulina is another powerful tool. It binds to toxins and assists the body in safely processing them. If you are cooking at home, you can also pair foods that may contain acrylamide with protective foods like these. While I never recommend eating junk food regularly, if you do eat them occasionally, pairing them with cruciferous vegetables, sprouts, vitamin C-rich foods, or green tea can reduce the overall oxidative stress. The bigger message is this: many of the most harmful things in the modern diet don't come from ingredients on labels. They come from what happens to those ingredients during processing. And in the case of acrylamide, it's a combination of refined carbohydrates, processed amino acids, and intense heat that creates the problem. By understanding how this compound forms and making small shifts, choosing whole foods, using stable fats, selecting dark roast coffee, reducing processed sugars, avoiding high heat, and eating protective plant foods, you can dramatically decrease your exposure. Thank you for spending this time with me today on Dr. Ryan. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. Once you know what's happening inside your food, you gain the power to make better choices. If you want more science-based health insights that help you protect your body, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Your health is worth it, and even small steps create big changes over time.